welcome to a new video. So basically this is just the music videos of Black Myth Wukong. I already completed the game and you need to pass certain chapters to unlock these videos. I said I was going to make a video for it so you guys can watch them, so here it is. I hope you enjoy. I'm going to take off my microphone and I'm going to take off my video feed off in just a moment. So yeah, let me do that and I'll turn it on later on once the video starts playing or whatever, or if I decide to speak. So microphone off and video off.
百卷情，千般缘，色与空，弹指间。轮回路，有万次劫，求不得，闭上眼，一生功名忙如烟，浮沉落花断不绝。涅槃究竟寻常事，有情处不远。口中念，心中念，现世报却方便。修行路，无名尽，幡动时莫等闲。一生功名情如烟，最后人物在少年。最是萤火情失眠，看真挚，看见。
Master, it still puzzles me. A monk's lust for gold should be quelled. Why does Elder Jinche still cling to that one Kasaya?
Bereft of that Kasaya, how shall they show the world their ties are cut and their lust is quelled?
Hi, so I'm back. So I think I'm gonna make multiple videos, right? Because There we go. So, for example, this particular music video is played after the first part of what do you call that? Of the game, and there's a lot of symbolism to it. And I mean, I think it's pretty simple to see like what it means, right? Like, um, a monk is so attached to the fact that they're not attached to something that it becomes an attachment. Does that make sense? And at the very least, from what I understand too, I this one's a little bit different from the rest of the game, right? Because the rest of the game has certain motifs that I think are very much indicative of life, right? But at the same time, this one seems to, because the tale of the mountain is tragedy because of what happened to Wukong, right? I think at the beginning of the game, Wukong fought, and because he fought, there was disaster, and his fight caused the fire, which ruined the mountain, which he's climbing in the first stage of the game, and I think it has to do with that, right? And yeah, it's I really like these music videos. I like the music, I like the symbolism, I like the art, just because it's just really cool. Like, there, if for no other reason than I can just appreciate its artistry, I can appreciate the effort that went into making it. Even if I don't fully understand everything in it, because I'm sure there's a lot of symbolism that I misunderstood, or even I missed because I'm not part of that culture. But regardless, that was the first video. Let's go on to the second one.
Men, beasts, Buddhas, Yaoguais. Each of them bears a distinct root from birth, superior and inferior. None should disturb what's decided. Am I right, Sun Wukong?
So I would say this is one of the ones that's a little bit more disturbing, at least in terms of this actual this actual game, because this is one of the ones that I had a hard time interpreting or like understanding. Right, for example, the way that it starts out, it's a jaguar, which is a demon, and the guy fell in love with the demon and had kids and had a decent life for some time. But then, at least the way I understand it, the demon's nature took over eventually, and it killed everything that he cared about. But when the demon was going to kill him, like, he woke up and he realized it's just a nightmare. So instead of going through all of that, he decided to nip it at the bud, right? Where, like, he kills the fox and now he has a fox pelt. This one in particular, I think it was the ears. So the first one was IC. So if you don't know, in the game, you're supposed to collect the five senses of the sage, which is wukong. So it starts out with the eyes, then the ears. This one, I think it kind of has to do with, like, when you listen, like, part of me is like, oh, okay, well, like, if you listen to people, they will generally tell you what they are about, right? Like, they won't just be like, there's people who lie, but at the same time, if you take the time to listen, you understand people more, right? And that's where I find myself a little bit confused, just because, like, does it mean that he listened to his nightmare, and, like, that's why he decided to kill the fox, because just in case, even if there was happiness in that route, like, at the end of it, there's just death, pain, and desolation, right? So he listened to his instincts, which is like, hey, like, I don't want to go through that. Kill the fox, even if it's just the fox that he happened to save. But yeah, let's go on to the next video, the next music video.
You tarried in the mortal world for a good while, didn't you? Speak clearly.
Once again, I proved it to you, Jinshansu.
You chose a means to an end, not to a proof. You sow chaos in hearts just for the sake of winning. How absurd and pathetic.
If not for winning, why debate over means and ends?
Okay, so this one, I think this one's a little bit more straightforward, right? Because from what I understand, basically the demon, for lack of a better word, had a challenge with man to see whether or not humans would be blinded by greed, right? And I think that at least the way that the story plays out, it's very indicative of how the real world sometimes plays out, right? Especially with just people in general. Like in the beginning, people were terrified of the monster, right? Like because it looks horrifying, it looks ugly. But then once they realized that it could bring them benefits, such as gold, such as beauty, and such as health, then they started worshiping it as a god, right? And for some time there was prosperity because the demon was able to create such wealth and bring such goodness to the people worshipped it. But then all it took is one person to be greedy, right? And go and try to get more than they needed, right? Because if you looked at it, there was a whole system in place where the people were able to give some fish, the demon ate it, and then it would self-mutilate to give them the pearls, and the pearls would be exchanged for gold and or health or X, Y, and Z. But this individual was blinded by greed. They were so obsessed with what it could be provided for themselves and nobody else, that they attacked the creature. And you would think, well, because the creature was sustaining the entire village, because the creature was keeping them healthy, because the creature was giving them food, it caused a typhoon or I don't know if it's typhoon or a hurricane. It caused a hurricane, and it caused all of the fish to land on the in the village so that they could eat, right? Because it did all of that, you would think, oh, well, then they would protect it, or they would condemn the person who hurt the beast more than they should have. But instead of that happening, everybody rushed in greedily. They tried to. They didn't try. They took what they could and didn't care for anything else or for anybody else, regardless of what the consequences were. Because at the end of the video, you see how all the prosperity that the demon brought, once it died, it didn't come back to life. It could, especially because like you could see that it was talking to the monk. But once they killed the golden goose, well, everything went back to normal. It turned back into a desolate place, and if anything, it was even worse because they got used to a certain quality of life. And I think that's indicative of how some communities, some countries, some companies are. They have this innovation, like for example medicine, right? Like I think that's something that's very easy to agree on. Like there's this medicine, and everybody, or not everybody, but it could save millions of lives. But instead of making it easy to access, people or like pharmaceutical companies, like they patent it and then they stop anybody else from creating it, because at the end of the day, a drug is just, generally speaking, a chemical that was synthesized in a particular way and then sold for its particular effects. right? But people, somebody decided, no, like I can make a profit off of this, so they kept it all together. And then that's how you kind of like get into a place where people aren't able to get the medicine they need because there's just no money, right? And it's not a perfect one-to-one thing, but I think that's what I understand, at least personally, from the video. And yeah, let's go on to the next one.
月光在初见的角落，
月光在惜别的城楼，
思念是眉间的痒，
愿念念望相思，寻常最长久。
汹涌如江流，
忐忑似轻舟，有你相伴，这一路多么多么自由。云卷
云舒
风起，
一周，
从
立春到立秋，在那一刻我爱上你的所有。忘了是心田的沟，
记得是老套的酒，
知音是相拥无言，
愿天黑花当你，总会说不够。
这一路多么多么无忧，
晚上
朝露
昙花
苍狗，
黑
也
夜
不过白昼。
听错了风，又怎么会有以后？
飘摇似轻舟，放手这一路，可怜我有多久？
欢喜
或真爱中绽放，或者不是，永远无分下一世莫回眸。
真情
难留
假意
未够，
相守，
今生有求，
下一世相遇，
情节再会。
So this is another one of those that I kind of appreciate its message a little bit more. Just because, like, so for example, at least the way that I understand it, right? This guy was chasing the girl, and the girl that he wanted wasn't for him, right? So he kind of well, he turned into a pig, right? Like, and I'm not sure if there's any kind of like symbolism behind that, right? Because like you could say, oh, like what does a pig do? Like it's dirty, or it's a boar, right? Like you like wild pigs are pretty nasty or pretty gnarly. Like they will kill a person and like eat it or like destroy an environment, right? But then as he was chasing the other girl, this girl happened he happened to bump into this girl, and this girl fell for him, right? When he was still a human, right? And even later on, once he changed and became a pig or became a boar, like she still accepted him the way that he was, but it crashed down, right? Because of what he had to do with his friends, right? With what's his face? With his companions Wukong and the monk. Like, I think that it kind of shows the regret of chasing after somebody who's not meant to be for you, right? Changing, right? Giving into your base desires, and then even if you meet somebody later on who does accept you for who you are and shows you the worst parts of themselves, just as you show them the worst part of yourselves to them, the fight, because I think that's what I understood, like they fought, and like you could see it go from the girl go from a beautiful woman to well, for lack of a better word, a spider, a revolting spider, and you could see him going from a boar back into a young man. And I think that the video kind of highlights, well, like what it says right there, rosy cheeks, gray hair. Like it's the regret of the passage of time and the relationships that we may lose or that we may create as time goes forward because of the mistakes that we made chasing after something that wasn't necessarily meant for us, you know. But at least that's kind of what I think. I could be completely off track, because in the game, he is one of your companions who helps you out a lot, and he's a pretty cool dude. So like I like that there was this like music video for him. All right, next one.
You've atoned through deeds, Black Bear. Take this pair of eyes. You've served the righteous cause, Yellow Rat. These ears are yours. Your power has gathered in you, Yellow Rat. Keep this nose. You've endured hardships under eye. Go with the tongue. And the bull, it is the hardest to turn against a sworn brother. You can have his body.
Wretched bull, your luck plagues your every step. Never have you made a good choice.
Save your strength, brother! We yet to slay our way to the court and seize that senile emperor! This one must be the chief of their troop. Brother, watch my back while I go play with him!
Your reluctance is plain. Just like my own. They forced me to drink from the river of childbearing, to bear that boy in my womb. If not for that monkey, we could have lived our separate lives in peace. As if none of this had happened.
You old coot! You knew who I was from the start. Why do you choose to be their lapdog? I never wanted to sever our ties. If kinship means anything to you, give me that relic and let me avenge my people.
My king! Let the monkey have my fan, and there will be no trouble.
Your brother, I've disciplined. Your boy, I've given away. Your wife's fan. Today, I'll take it with me too. Find a master and serve the right. It's the only path left for the likes of us. Don't you understand, brother?
Wukong! I took out the bull's concubine with a whack of my rake too! Turned out, she was a fox squire!
The way I saw it, with enough merit and a position before the Buddha, they would leave me be, and all of you as well. Now I see, for someone like me, staying alive is enough to be a transgression. Brother, take care of your wife and children. And remember, steer clear of my remains.
Okay, so that was the last of them. For this one, I think it has to do more with the story of Wukong and the Bull King. I've read a couple of stories. Mostly they're like web novels, right? And from what I understand, because I haven't really delved deep into like Wukong's like story, apart from like, just some gist of like the journey to the west and stuff like that, or at least from what I could tell, right, based on the game, the Bull King is supposed to be Wukong's sworn brother, right? Like he's supposed to be the like what does a brother mean? Like a brother is somebody who you trust implicitly. They shouldn't betray you. They should be there beside you and behind you, supporting you and helping you do everything that you want to do, right? For better or for worse. Like that's kind of the whole point of having a family. But what I think the video kind of like displays is it shows the tragedy of the Bull King, right? And because don't misunderstand either, we as the player sympathize with Wukong, right? But Wukong wasn't a really good guy. Like he tried to eventually, he redeemed himself, right? But he wasn't necessarily a good person off to start off, right? Like there's a lot of stories of him being just a jackass for the sake of being a jackass, right? And like, so for example, like can you imagine like somebody who you trust, right? Somebody who you say is your sworn brother or your brother, and their friend beats up your wife, and they beat up your wife and then they laugh about it. Like I don't know, like I like that's not necessarily somebody you would call a brother. But in like, so you could say like, oh, he's justified for betraying Wukong, because at least at the beginning of the game it's heavily implied that Wukong is fighting by himself. He's fighting against the court by himself, because the court is chasing after him for the transgressions of being alive, when in reality what it came down to was Wukong was just too powerful to be left alone. Like if you know there's somebody who is just by themselves a challenge to your power, generally speaking, most people won't let that person or thing exist, because it's danger if it's not under your control, especially as an organization grows or as a person grows in power. Generally speaking, they start to see threats where even if they're not there, they see the threat, right? Like that's why dictatorships don't necessarily work out too well, or they start getting paranoid, but yeah, like it's implied that Wukong fought by himself, right? But later on, like, and this is towards the very end, like this is why I said like these are music videos that you unlock throughout the game. As you go out throughout the game, like you start realizing that there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle missing, right? And like he wasn't by himself. He had somebody fighting beside him, but that person betrayed him instead of helping him. And because of that betrayal, he was rewarded with the body. And the body, like he warned his brother one last time before he died, don't use my body, because if you look at what happens to everybody who took a body part, they don't meet a happy ending because of the player. And for better or for worse, that's kind of what happens to the Bull King. So even though he listened to his friends, like his brother, like it still didn't work out too well for him. I think that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the music videos. I try to stay quiet as much as I could when the videos themselves were playing, and then give my thoughts on them. I might make a video where I'm just quiet the whole time, and like 1 5-minute, 1 6-minute, 1 7-minute, like video goes like this. But yeah, I think that's about it. I've been meaning to this for a minute, but life just happens. So thanks for taking the time to watch it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.